Château de Picomtal, 14e-16e siècle.
Centennial renovations, 1999 to 2002. We're in the heart of the Southern Alps, halfway between Aix-en-Provence and Turin, between Gap and Briançon, overlooking Lake Serponçon and the Durance River Valley, at an altitude of 830 meters across from Écrin National Park. The history of the chateau dates back to the year 1080. A lord of Embrun, forced to flee by the local archbishop, found refuge on his land, built a simple watchtower and established the lordship of Crotte. The neglected state that you see is due to the fact that the last renovations took place over 100 years ago, between 1880 and 1900, by its owner, the historian Joseph Roman. Since that time, nature has taken over the park, damaging pillars, iron fences, and overturning 18th and 19th century stone fountains and pools. We're looking at the 19th century veranda and two Virginia junipers on the southern facade. This 18th century pond, built after the incendiary invasion of the Duke of Savoy in 1692, was used not only for fire prevention, but also to irrigate the garden. We are now inside. This is what the front hall looked like in 1998, just before the beginning of the new renovations. The second floor hallway. The Lion Salon was the formal drawing room of the previous owners. The billiard room. In 1892, Joseph Roman's wife, Isabelle Reynaud, painted the chapel dedicated to King Saint Louis. Notice the series of coats of arms that represent various noble Picomtal families. This is the Boniface Tower, originally the 13th century watchtower. We see how time has left its mark over the last 100 years. The 19th century roof required more than just simple repairs. Water infiltrated through several of the top floor ceilings. In the past, it was delicate for a roofer to work on such a steep slope without the use of a crane. The decorative zinc spike did not appreciate the vagaries of nature. The zinc gutters should have been changed long ago. Water fell directly at the foot of the edifice, weakening masonry and foundations. In greater detail, the deterioration of terrace walls and pillars built from Crotte bricks, topped by sculpted capitals made from limestone found in the Boscondon Valley, famous for its recently restored 12th century abbey. In spite of the use of lime in construction, the chateau has not only suffered from water infiltration, but also from earthquakes and mountain instability. The poor condition of the 19th century window frames contributed to the inside deterioration of embrasures and floors. The sword-like cuts in the second floor hallway are a result of the sagging floor above, overloaded with fireplaces and partition walls in the 19th century. The water damage visible on the ceiling is not surprising considering the condition of the gutters. This photo, taken in March 1999, allows us to compare the old slate on the north towers with the new tiles on the main roof. The two south tower pepper boxes were lowered to the ground. We'll see why later on. The 19th century pepperbox frames have stayed in good condition. They are made from local larchwood, which is naturally rot-proof. Hooks hold into place slate tiles which are fitted onto a wood lining. These are relatively comfortable working conditions for the roofers, who are far from dizzying heights and supply difficulties. Fortunately so, since putting the slate on the cones requires geometrical acrobatics. The recently installed copper gutters are brightly shining. As you can see today, time has dulled that shine. Here's the solution used to lower the pepper boxes. Renting a crane facilitates the job. The pepper boxes are held by cables which are fastened to the frame base in 4 or 6 places. Each pepper box weighs approximately 5 tons. They are not attached to the stonework since there is little chance that they could be blown off by a gust of wind. How unusual to see the 4 towers deprived of their pepper boxes. It is the way the edifice looked before the 19th century. The pepper box is ready to be put back into place. It is slightly heavier than before, with tiles that are now 6 mm thick instead of 4 mm. We hope that it will not have to come back down before the 22nd century. Each tile is cut according to the circumference of the cone. The tile is held in place by a single hook. We are on the 2nd floor above the former guardroom. The vaulted ceiling dated from either the 17th or 18th century. It held all the weight of floors above. The thrust of the vault progressively deformed the facade, which had to be partially rebuilt in the 1950s. But the vault continued to be unstable, and the longitudinal cracks were worrisome. Instead of a dangerous and expensive reinforcement procedure, it was decided to replace the ceiling by a new vault, which would be lighter and would not deform the facade. The weight of the floors above would be held differently. 300 tons of rock are removed, much to the relief of the edifice. The north pepper boxes are delicately put back into place. Their summits will be topped with the repaired zinc spikes. Metal beam installation. In order to strengthen the edifice, metal beams will be put into place between the supporting walls. The beams will also hold the weight of the floors above. This same operation will be repeated between the second and third floors. Thus reinforced, the shatter will be able to resist the effects of thrust and deformation. During the major work on the ground floor, finishing touches are made to the decoration on the top floor. The new vaulted ceiling is a simple structure composed of arched metal tubes to which a cardboard grill is fastened and ready to be sprayed with a thin coat of lime. Very similar in appearance to the old ceiling, the 3-ton vault will be 100 times lighter than before. The facade will certainly appreciate the difference. Second floor decoration. The Lyon Salon decoration is being reproduced identically thanks to stenciling.